Just a reminder that we are taking entries for the fun event tonight, which will be lead line. So you get to lead your parent or an adult on a horse.
If everyone wanted to take or stand for the national anthem. And if you'll remain standing for a moment of prayer. Lord, I might seem so little sitting up here all alone astride this mountain of horse you made of muscle, of bone, but together we're a team, Lord, with only one goal in mind, to make it around the clover leaf in a record-breaking time. Please keep my horse sure-footed and let me hang on to my quirt. Amen. As we start our jackpot for tonight, we'll start with draws 1 through 5. Kayla Ward, Mateo Catulli, Haley Siliker, Haley Ward, and Faith Lewis. We'll start with draw 1, Kayla Ward on Holy Foos. On deck, Mateo Catulli with Flawless Frenchman, and Haley Siliker, you're in the hole. And that's 15,449. 15,449.
Just give me a second. We're waiting on Mateo here.
All right, up next, draw 2, Mateo Catulli with Flawless Frenchman. On deck, Haley Siliker with Rockin' the Clock, and Haley Ward, you're on deck, or in the hole. $15,547. That's 15,547. Up next, draw 3, Haley Siliker with Rockin' the Clock. On deck, Haley Ward with Noblest Gold Rush. Faith Lewis, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Hold on the pattern. Pattern looks good. Up next, draw 4, Haley Ward with Noblest Gold Rush. Faith Lewis and Gunner, you're on deck, and Tractors, you're in the hole. $15,933. That's $15,933. Oh, sorry, it was a no time. Up next, draw 5, Faith Lewis with Gunner. Tractors, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been 16,370. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 6 through 10. Ava Wolf with Riding on Fame. Avery Grona on Eyes Royally Cute. Brooklyn Ward with YJ Carver. Marg Tenho with Val's Jetalina. And Janelle McMahon on Blazing Magician. All right, getting started with draw 6. Ava Wolf on Riding on Fame. On deck, Avery Grona and Eyes Royally Cute. And Brooklyn Ward, you're in the hole. $15,683. That's $15,683. Hold on the pattern. Up next, draw 7, Avery Grona and Eyes Royally Cute. On deck, Brooklyn Ward with YJ Carver and Marg Tenhove. You're in the hole. 15763. That's 15763. Up next, draw 8, Brooklyn Ward and YJ Carver. On deck, Marg Tenhove with Vals Jetalina and Janelle McMahon. You're in the hole. Unfortunately, that's a no time. It would have been a 15817. Hold on the pattern. Up next to draw 9, Marg Tenhove with Vals Jetalina. On deck, Janelle McMahon and Blazing Magician. Tractors, you're in the hole. $15,084. That's $15,084. And that is our top time. Up next, draw 10, Janelle McMahon on Blazing Magician. Tractors, you're on deck. $15,324. That's $15,324. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 11 through 15. Herb Hopkins on Captain Carolina. Lindsay Medlin with Frenchie Got Famous. Jesse Stratford with Jess Bringing It. Millie Isham on Crowley. And Deb Oschlager with A Foolish Battle. All right, getting started with draw 11, Herb Hopkins on Captain Carolina. On deck, Lindsay Medlin with Frenchie Got Famous. And Jesse Stratford, you're in the hole. And it's 15,579. 15,579. Up next, draw 12, Lindsay Medlin and Frenchie Got Famous. On deck, Jesse Stratford with Jess Bringing It, and Millie Isham, you're in the hole. $15,382. That's $15,382. Up next, draw 13, Jesse Stratford on Jess Bringing It. On deck, Millie Isham and Crowley, and Deb Oschlager, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 16,764. Hold on the pattern. Up next, we have draw 14, Millie Isham and Crowley. On deck, Deb Oschlager with A Foolish Battle. Tractors, you're in the hole. And it's 16,642. It's 16,642. Up next, draw 15, Deb Oschlager with A Foolish Battle. Tractors, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 16,504. Let's drag. After the drag, we have draws 16 through 20. Lisa Scarlett with Royal Dashes Shine. Murray Watson with Caraway's Tilly Lane. Charlene Catuli on Royal Dash and Bully. Kayla Ward with LLW Gambler Ladybell. And Sophia Boys with I Be Doing It to Win. Just a reminder that there is a fun event tonight and tomorrow. Tonight is a loved one lead line, so you can put your loved one on your horse. So come and sign up for it at the front, and that will be happening after our jackpot. All right, draw 16, Lisa Scarlett with Royal Dashes Shine. On deck, Murray Watson with Caraway's Tilly Lane. And Charlene Catuli, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was in no time. It would have been a 16-5-5-1. Hold on the pattern. Up next, draw 17, Murray Watson with Caraway's Tilly Lane. On deck, Charlene Catuli with Royal Dash and Bully. And Kayla Ward, you're in the hole. 17-1-2-0. That's 17-1-2-0. Up next, draw 18, Charlene Catuli with Royal Dash and Bully. On deck, Kayla Ward with LLW Gambler Lady Bell. And Sophia Boys, you're in the hole. 15-6-7-4. 15-6-7-4. Up next, draw 19, Kayla Ward with LLW Gambler Lady Bell. On deck, Sophia Boys with IB Doing It to Win. And Tractors, you're in the hole. 15-6-5-4. That's 15-6-5-4. Up next, draw 20, Sophia Boys with IB Doing It to Win. Tractors, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-5-7-6. Let's drag. After the drag, we have draws 21 through 25. Brody Marshall with Packing for Payday. Kristen Pyatt with LL Cash King Guy. Jody Illman with You Know a Royal Flush. James Wilson in the Rose. Mary McCallum with PJ Plain Jane Riker. Starting with draw 21, Brody Marshall with Packin' for Payday. On deck, Kristen Pyatt with LL Cash King Guy. And Jody Illman, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 16-3-2-2. Hold on the pattern. Up next, draw 22, Kristen Pyatt with LL Cash Keen Guy. On deck, Jody Illman with You Know a Royal Flush. James Wilson, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 16-7-3-3. Hold on the pattern. Up next, draw 23, Jody Illman with You Know a Royal Flush. On deck, James Wilson and The Rose. Mary McCallum, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-5-2-3. Hold on the pattern. Draw 24, James Wilson and The Rose. On deck, Mary McCallum with PJ, Plain Jane Riker. Tractors, you're in the hole. Fifteen, 7-5-7. That's 15-7-5-7. Up next, draw 25, Mary McCallum with PJ, Plain Jane Riker. Tractors, you're on deck. And that's 15-5-4-8. 15-5-4-8. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 26 through 30. Annette Matthew on French Knickers. Mateo Catulli with Healy Falls Flying High. Emily Foster with HH Lil Catton. Melissa Kersey on LL Sparky Dunnett. Trini Galway with This Pop Sockets on Fire. And if you haven't gone out to check out the food booth yet, they are open and they are serving dinner. Draw 26, Annette Matthew with French Knickers. On deck, Mateo Catulli and Healy Falls, Flying High. Emily Foster, you're in the hole. $15,659. That's $15,659. Up next to draw 27, Mateo Catulli with Healy Falls, Flying High. On deck, Emily Foster with H.H. Lil Catton. Melissa Kersey, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was in no time. It would have been a 15,385. Hold on the pattern. Up next to draw 28, Emily Foster with H.H. Lil Catton. On deck, Melissa Kersey with L.L. Sparky Dunnett. And Trinity Galway, you're in the hole. It's 18,837. It's 18,837. Up next to draw 29, Melissa Kersey with LL Sparky Dunnett. On deck, Trinity Galway with This Pop Sockets on Fire. Tractors, you're in the hole. $18,154. That's $18,154. Up next, draw 30, Trinity Galway on This Pop Sockets on Fire. Tractors, you're on deck. $16,973. That's $16,973. Let's drag. After the drag, we have draws 31 through 35. Maya Webb with CW Legacy. Hayden Greenwood with Frenchman's Fuel. Ashley Gardner with Streak and Firefly. Megan Hendrickson with Let a Spanky Do It. And Haley Cooper on Clancy. Draw 31, Maya Webb with CW Legacy. On deck, Hayden Greenwood with Frenchman's Fuel. And in the hole, Ashley Gardner. $17,693. That's $17,693. Up next, to draw 32, Hayden Greenwood with Frenchman's Fuel. On deck, Ashley Gardner and Streak and Firefly. Megan Hendrickson, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 17,521. Hold on the pattern. Up next, to draw 33, Ashley Gardner with Streak and Firefly. On deck, Megan Hendrickson with Let a Spanky Do It, and Haley Cooper, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15,374. Hold on the pattern. Up next, draw 34, Megan Hendrickson with Let a Spanky Do It. On deck, Haley Cooper and Clancy. Tractors, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Hold on the pattern. Draw 35, Haley Cooper with Clancy. Tractors, you're on deck. And that's 15,359. 15,359. Let's drag. After the drag, we have draws 36 through 40. Sierra White with LL Hickory's Little Red. Kayla Ward with No Cheney Frost. Shauna Smith with KD Streak and Joe. Molly Fiorino with NPH Highbrow Sugar. And Haley Siliker with I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie. Draw 36, Sierra White with LL Hickory's Little Red. On deck, Kayla Ward with No Cheney Frost, and Shauna Smith, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15.440. Hold on the pattern. Draw 37, Kayla Ward with No Cheney Frost. On deck, Shauna Smith with Katie Streak and Joe, and Molly Fiorino, you're in the hole. $16,398. That's $16,398. Holding the pattern. Draw 38, Shauna Smith with KD Streak and Joe. On deck, Molly Fiorino with MPH Highbrow Sugar. Haley Siliker, you're in the hole. And it's 17,690. 17,690. Up next, draw 39, Molly Fiorino with NPH Highbrow Sugar. On deck, Haley Siliker, and I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie. Tractors, you're in the hole. $16,878. That's $16,878. Up next, draw 40, Haley Siliker with I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie. Tractors, you're on deck. $16,375. That's $16,375. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 41 through 45. Haley Ward with Holy He's Sharp. Faith Lewis on SQ Playful Peppy. Ava Wolf with Doc's Double Boon. Avery Grona with PH Too Darn Feisty. And Brooklyn Ward with Cash and Sweet Revenge. Draw 41, Haley Ward with Holy He's Sharp. On deck, Faith Lewis with SQ Playful Peppy, and Ava Wolf, you're in the hole. $16,168. That's $16,168. Up next, draw 42, Faith Lewis with SQ Playful Peppy. On deck, Ava Wolf with Doc's Double Boon, and Avery Grona, you're in the hole. $15,428. $15,428. Up next, draw 43, Ava Wolf with Doc's Double Boon. On deck, Avery Grona and PH Too Darn Feisty. Brooklyn Ward, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15,371. Hold on the pattern. Huge shout out to all of our beautiful barrel setters tonight. Thanks for working so hard. Up next, we have draw 44, Avery Grona with PH Too Darn Feisty. On deck, Brooklyn Ward and Cash and Sweet Revenge. Tractors, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Hold on the pattern. Draw 45, Brooklyn Ward with Cash and Sweet Revenge. Tractors, you're on deck. $15,517. That's $15,517. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 46 through 50. Marg Tenhove with Streakin' Got Me Fired. Kristen Ward with He's a Sunfrost. Emily Bowerman with Smart Disco Fox. Macy Dugdale with Ann Smokin' Cash. And Aislinn Bruce with Doc's Custom Whiz. Draw 46, Marg Tenhove with Streaking Got Me Fired. On deck, Kristen Ward with MM He's a Sunfrost. And Emily Bowerman, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-9-2-6. Hold on the pattern. Draw 47, Kristen Ward. On MM, He's a Sunfrost. On deck, Emily Bowerman with Smart Disco Fox. Macy Dugdale, you're in the hole. $16,326. That's $16,326. Up next, draw 48, Emily Bowerman with Smart Disco Fox. On deck, Macy Dugdale with Ann Smoking Cash. Aislinn Bruce, you're in the hole. $15,635. That's $15,635. Up next, draw 49, Macy Dugdale with Ann Smoking Cash. Aislinn Bruce with MM Docs Custom Wiz on deck. Tractors, you're in the hole. $16,824. That's $16,824. Draw 50, Aislinn Bruce with MM Docs Custom Wiz. $16,137. A $16,137. And it's a big drag, tractors. After the big drag, we'll have draws 51 through 55. Linda DiPietro with Betcha She's Done It. Matteo Cacciuli with JW Smooth Mayhem. Lake and Wilmore with Dancing Gold. Julia Laterno with LL Rockets Valentine. And Kayla Ward with Never Ending Story. If you haven't signed up for the fun event, come on up front and sign up for the Loved Ones lead line. It is a $5 registration, and it'll be right after the jackpot. All right, we'll get started with draw 51, Linda DiPietro with Betcha She's Done It. On deck, Matteo Catulli with JW, Smooth Mayhem, and Lake and Wilmore, You're in the Hole. $16.166. That's 16,166. Up next, draw 52, Matteo Catulli with JW, Smooth Mayhem. On deck, Lake and Wilmore with Dancing Gold, and Julia Letourneau, You're in the Hole. $16,554. That's 16,554. Up next to draw 53, Lake and Wilmore on Dancing Gold. On deck, Julia Letourneau with LL Rockets Valentine, and Kayla Ward, You're in the Hole. $17,310. That's 17,310. Up next, draw 54, Julia Letourneau with LL Rockets Valentine. On deck, Kayla Ward with Never Ending Story. Tractors, You're in the Hole. $19,660. That's 19,660. Up next, draw 55, Kayla Ward with Never Ending Story. Tractors, You're on deck. $16,941. That's 16,941. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 56 through 60. Olivia Geisbrecht, The Sparks and Spirit. Sydney Simpraga with Conman's Double Trouble. Gerard Bernauer, Royal Dashing Jewel. Ashley Kiebert with Nom Just Kiss My Crown. And Taylor Gore with Okies Running Sharp. All right, draw 56, Olivia Geisbrecht with Sparks in Spirit. On deck, Sydney Simpraga with Con Man's Double Trouble. And Gerard Bernard, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Hold on the pattern. Up next to draw 57, Sydney Simpraga with Con Man's Double Trouble. On deck, Gerard Bernard with Royal Dashing Jewel. Ashley Kiebert, you're in the hole. Sixteen three eight three. 16383. Draw 58, Gerard Bernard with Royal Dashing Jewel. On deck, Ashley Kiebert with Nom Just Kiss My Crown. And Taylor Gore, you're in the hole. Fifteen six five nine. That's 15659. Up next, draw 59, Ashley Kiebert with Nom Just Kiss My Crown. On deck, Taylor Gore and Okies running sharp. Tractors, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-3-5-6. Hold on the pattern. Draw 60, Taylor Gore with Okies running sharp. Tractors, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-2-2-6. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 61 through 65. Tanner Barber with Tell Her a Secret. Jenna Sweeney with LL Genuine Gold. Carly Gowling with Flaming Quick Flash. Haven James with ZF Otos Little Daisy. And Rebecca Suter on Memphis. Draw 61, Tanner Barber with Tell Her a Secret. On deck, Jenna Sweeney with LL Genuine Gold. Haven James, you're in the hole. $14,875, and that's your time to beat. Up next, draw 62, Jenna Sweeney with LL Genuine Gold. On deck, Haven James with ZF Otos Little Daisy. Rebecca Suter, you're in the hole. $15,195. That's $15,195. Up next to draw 64, Haven James with ZF Otos Little Daisy. On deck, Rebecca Suter in Memphis. Tractors, you're in the hole. $16,061. That's $16,061. Up next to draw 65, Rebecca Suter with Memphis. Tractors, you're on deck. $18,097. That's $18,097. Let's drag. After the drag, we have draws 66 through 70. Presley Candy with Guys Gypsy Blue. Taylor Juskew with CR Red Prince. Natalie Clement with Who's Hot Now. Matt Wood, Paint My Hawks. And Madison Francis with Darla. All right, draw 66, Presley Candy with Guy's Gypsy Blue. On deck, Taylor Juscu with CR Red Prince. Natalie Clement, you're in the hole. Fifteen, 831. That was 15, 831. Hold on the pattern. Up next to draw 67, Taylor Juscu with CR Red Prince. On deck, Natalie Clement with Who's Hot Now. Matt Wood, you're in the hole. And that's 16,788. 16,788. Up next, draw 68, Natalie Clement with Who's Hot Now. On deck, Matt Wood with Paint My Hawks. Madison Francis, you're in the hole. And that was 19,068. 19,068. Up next, draw 69, Matt Wood with Paint My Hawks. On deck, Madison Francis and Darla. Tractors, you're in the hole. Sixteen two four zero. That's 16,240. Matt will have your hat at the front. Hold on the pattern. Up next, draw 70, Madison Francis with Darla. Tractors, you're on deck. Nineteen three oh two. That's 19,302. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 71 through 75. Jody Wilson with Checkered Frenchman. Tenley Vandenhoevel with 3 tequila shots. Jesse Gowenlock with Sweet on Jazz. Jennifer Firth with Big Oaks Wagon Wheel. And Heather Popple with Okies Epic Flit. Draw 71, Jody Wilson with Checkered Frenchman. On deck, Tenley Vanden Heuvel with 3 tequila shots. And Jesse Gowanlock, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 17-6-4-8. Hold on the pattern. Up next to draw 72, Tenley Vanden Heuvel with 3 tequila shots. On deck, Jesse Gowanlock with Sweet on Jazz. Jennifer Firth, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 17-7-8-2. Hold on the pattern. Up next to draw 73, Jesse Gowanlock with Sweet on Jazz. On deck, Jennifer Firth with Big Oak Wagon Wheel. Heather Popel, you're in the hole. Sixteen 520. That's 16-520. Up next to draw 74, Jennifer Firth with Big Oak Wagon Wheel. On deck, Heather Popel with Okies Epic Flit. Tractors, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-8-3-3. Hold on the pattern. Draw 75, Heather Popel with Okies Epic Flit. Tractors, you're on deck. $15,191. That's $15,191. Let's drag. After the drag, it's draws 76 through 80. Dane Dugdale with RVF, Arctic Contender. Aislinn Bruce with Getting Jiggy With It. Courtney Lang with Strawberry Sunshine. Glenn Sutherland with Eddie by the Sea. And Molly Fiorino with Twistin' and Rockin'. Draw 76, Dane Dugdale on RVF, Arctic Contender. On deck, Aislinn Bruce with Getting Jiggy With It. And Courtney Lang, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-4-3-1. Hold on the pattern. Draw 77, Aislinn Bruce with Getting Jiggy With It. On deck, Courtney Lang with Strawberry Sunshine. Glenn Sutherland, you're in the hole. $16,308. That's $16,308. Draw 78, Courtney Lang with Strawberry Sunshine. On deck, Glenn Sutherland with Eddie by the Sea. Molly Fiorino, you're in the hole. $24,652. That's $24,652. Draw 79, Glenn Sutherland with Eddie by the Sea. On deck, Molly Fiorino with Twistin' and Rockin'. Tractors, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15.098. 15.098. Draw 80, Molly Fiorino with Twisted and Rockin'. Tractors, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draws 81 through 85. Jesse Stratford with Wesley. Aislinn Bruce with WL, Beautiful Trauma. Elise Blanchard on Cinderella. Kayla Lang in Black Magic. And Kyla Clark with LL, She's a Genuine Doc. If you guys haven't signed up for our fun event tonight, please do so. Registration is up here at the front, and it is $5 to put your loved one on your horse on lead line around the arena following the jackpot. Draw 81, Jesse Stratford with Wesley. On deck, Aislinn Bruce with WL, Beautiful Trauma, and Elise Blanchard. You're in the hole. $17,796. That's $17,796. Up next to draw 82, Aislinn Bruce with WL, Beautiful Trauma. On deck, Elise Blanchard and Cinderella. And Kayla Lang, you're in the hole. $17,076. That's $17,076. Draw 83, Elise Blanchard with Cinderella. On deck, Kayla Lang and Black Magic. Kayla Clark, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been 16,514. 16,514. Hold on the pattern. Draw 84, Kayla Lang and Black Magic. On deck, Kyla Clark with LL. She's a genuine doc. Tractors, you're in the hole. $17,154. The 17,154. Up next, draw 85, Kyla Clark with LL. She's a genuine doc. Tractors, you're on deck. $16,236. That's $16,236. Let's drag. After the drag, we have our final two draws of the evening for our jackpot. Taylor Partridge with Hollywood Sunrise and Hillary Bowerman with Royal Dirty Diamond. After our jackpot, we have our fun event. So come and register and lead your loved one around the pen. All right, draw 87, Taylor Partridge with Hollywood Sunrise. On deck, Hillary Bowerman with Royal Dirty Diamond. Fun event, you're in the hole. $15,959. That's $15,959. Draw 88, Hillary Bowerman with Royal Dirty Diamond. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been a 15-261, and that wraps up our Friday night jackpot. Our fun event will be beginning at 9 p.m. sharp. So if you haven't registered, come to the front and do so, and then get your loved one on.